This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Now at 6 o'clock, the latest on the Larch Creek fire that continues to grow in Wasco County. We're going to bring you updates on evacuations and the efforts to slow this fire down.
More Democrats are calling on President Biden to bow out of the presidential race. We'll tell you which Oregon representative now says it's time for Biden to step aside. Oh, look at the snake.
Oh my goodness, look at that. What would you do if you saw a boa constrictor in your back seat? How it got there, coming up, but what would you do?
I'd scream quickly.
Yeah.
From snakes to Slurpees. From these slithering snakes to your free Slurpee today, because today is July 11th. That is 7-Eleven. And 7-Eleven every year on this day gives away the Slurpees for free. Yes, that man's not paying for that Slurpee. Is he working there at 7-Eleven? I can't tell what that hat says. Oh, that other man works for us. That's Eric Patterson with the headphones on his head. He's getting himself a couple of free Slurpees and a snack to boot. Here's what we're going to do, gang. Coming up a little bit later, our content producer, Brittany Smith, on the show. For some reason, the free Slurpees on 7-Eleven Day had her thinking about strange snack combinations. One of our viewers last hour suggested putting ketchup on her cornflakes. I thought to myself, that is so bizarre. She must have been pulling her leg. But if you have a snack combo that you think is unusual, you can text us your favorite one, 503-226-5088.
It's kind of like mini nachos, with the cornflakes being the mini chip, and then the ketchup being the
just get
cheese
a chip.
or salsa. Yeah.
You gonna give it a try, Rod?
No. Here's a look at a beautiful shot down in Lincoln County. Let's go to Newport. Good morning. We have beautiful clear skies. Temperature 53 degrees. There are clouds showing up on our Cannon Beach live cam. You folks cleared out before noon yesterday. You should do it again today. All right. Well, another clear sky start. This is very redundant at this point, isn't it? 62 is the early morning number. This is an air mass that continues to show cooling today. So 77 at noon. Yesterday it was 84. 88 at 5 p.m. Yesterday it was 93. We're making progress. Here's Chris.
That looks a lot better. All right, our freeway drive this morning generally in pretty good shape. I want to take you out to Eastern Oregon real quick. Out in Umatilla County, ODOT reporting a crash on Interstate 84 eastbound near Meacham. Eastbound 84 closed right now due to that crash in Meacham. All right, back to the drive locally. I-5 from Wilsonville rolling right along again. No major issues out there just yet. I want to remind folks this weekend that a 5-mile stretch of I-84, the Banfield, closes overnight Saturday night, 11 p.m. until noon on Sunday, so ODOT can do some cleanup and some repairs and whatnot. That will also impact a section of I-5 northbound over the Markham Bridge. We'll have much more on this coming up in just a bit, guys.
All right, Chris, let's get to our top story this morning. It's the latest on the Larch Creek fire that's burning in Wasco County. Over the past 24 hours, it's grown to 9,100 acres and remains 0% contained. It's burning mostly fields and grassy areas in a rural part of the county southwest of Dufur. Firefighters say wind drove the fire to the east yesterday, so they've been digging trenches on the ground to try to slow it down and also dumping water on the flames from the air.
With this rapid wind, it can be 2 miles away, and a few minutes later, it could be right at their feet.
Evacuation areas also expanded yesterday with level 3 go now orders in place for new areas east of Highway 197. The highway itself has also been closed at times since this fire started, but right now it is open.
And due to extreme fire danger, recreational fires are now banned throughout unincorporated Clark County. That's in addition to the burn bans that went into effect late last week. The new rules prohibit all outdoor burning, including the use of charcoal briquettes in all state forests and parks. You can still use self-contained camp stoves for outdoor cooking. The ban will remain in effect until further notice.
Portland police arrested a man who is accused of setting 4 fires in northeast Portland early yesterday morning. He's now charged with arson and is expected to appear in court later today. Investigators say John Martin intentionally set these fires, including one that burned an old cafe at northeast 28th and Sandy. Portland Fire and Rescue says that fire started at a homeless camp right in front of the property. A woman who lives nearby told us a group of homeless campers have been occupying that spot for about a week.
A lot of people don't want them so long in an area because they get comfortable, they start blocking the sidewalks, they start, using the sidewalk as a bathroom.
Another business in that area of 28th and Sandy called Dear Sandy posted on Instagram that someone set something on fire and put it through their mail slot. An employee there says the business plans to remove that mail slot and step up its security. You may have noticed we did get a bit of a break from the heat yesterday, and more relief is expected today. But the latest on the heat wave shows us that there are at least 9 suspected heat-related deaths in Oregon because of the extreme temperatures. So that includes 5 deaths in Multnomah County, 1 in Clackamas County, and 1 in Washington County. The other 2 were reported in southern Oregon, in Coos and Jackson counties, where temperatures got as high as 110 degrees.
Well, since the first presidential debate, Democrats have increasingly called for President Joe Biden to step aside. That list now includes Oregon Representative Earl Blumenauer.
Yeah, KGW's Thomas Schultz is covering this story for us this morning. So, Thomas, what exactly did Congressman Blumenauer say?
Yeah, well, Drew, experts say what we're seeing right now is unprecedented. And Congressman Blumenauer said no president has had more accomplishments under more difficult circumstances than President Joe Biden, though he added Biden should drop out in the interest of protecting democracy. Blumenauer didn't say specifically why he believes Biden should drop out, though his statements come amid wide reports of Democratic murmurings of concern over Biden's age and mental state. Wednesday, Vermont Senator Peter Welch became the first Democratic senator to call on Biden to step aside. Still, there's only a handful of Democrats in Congress who have publicly called on Biden to leave the presidential race, creating a situation experts say we've never seen before.
We've never seen a call for a candidate to leave the race so late in the process.
Joe Biden in an exclusive one-on-one interview.
Before we get to that, Ashley, I do want to thank Thomas for that report here this morning. But you mentioned there is something coming up on Monday that we do want to get to. If you want to share those details now, go for it.
That is a sit down with President Joe Biden and Lester Holt. The full unedited interview will air at 6 p.m. our time, followed by special coverage of the Republican National Convention at 6:30.
All right. Now let's get to this next story out of Eugene, where the owner of a Lego store is accused of paying people to shoplift from big box stores so he could build up his own inventory. We're talking about a lot of Legos here, valued at more than $200,000. Police raided this brick builder store in downtown Eugene last week after a months-long investigation. Police say the store owner and an employee recruited people to steal Legos from stores like Target, Walmart, and Fred Meyer. So at that point, investigators decided to set up surveillance, and they say they saw this whole scheme unfold.
We'd watch people go into the stores with the Legos and come out with cash in hand. At that point, we would stop the people, we'd talk to them, and they would tell me exactly what they did. And that was steal Legos, go straight to brick builders, trade the stolen Legos for cash.
Seems too easy to work, and it didn't work. Police got to the bottom of that one. Again, this is in Eugene. The owner of that brick builders, by the way, now faces charges of organized retail theft.
And check this out. A rideshare driver in Minneapolis got the shock of their life when they found a boa constrictor in their car. Yeah, it was in the back seat. Police helped remove it from the rideshare car. It's not clear where the snake came from, but the driver thinks the animal was actually left behind by a passenger. Police say they were unable to reach the owner of the snake, so it was taken to animal control. No officers, drivers, passengers, or snakes were harmed.
Rod, are you fearful of the snake?
Yes, somewhat.
Because I would think that growing up in Missouri the way you did, there'd be a lot of snakes running around there.
Yes, water moccasins are in a lot of the lakes down there, copperheads we have. We had a boa constrictor in our elementary 5th grade science class, and we would take it like you do it on the show sometimes, Drew, when we have a boa in, and you'd wrap it around, and it was all great. But as I've gotten older, I don't care for that much.
Yeah. You're not going to do a photo op?
I agree. The snake's not asking to be on your shoulders. I agree. Why put it there? Right?
Yeah, but that's an interesting story. If you had a pet snake, how in the heck would you forget you had it when you got out of the car? I don't know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at our heat map, shall we? The heat map once covered. Now, remember, you go back a couple of days, the first of the week, right? Every part of our two-state area, for the most part, was covered in color for heat warnings, except for the immediate coast. Now what's left is some counties in southern Oregon and southeastern up into Baker City, where temperatures will be anywhere from mid-90s to about 100 to 101. The only red flag warning we have, the red color in our two-state area, is the one up in central Washington around Yakima. Great news for those of you waking up and live in Wasco County, maybe in the Dufur area, wanting some good news from the Larch Creek fire. The red flag warning has been dropped in that area as well. Yesterday, the modeling was showing winds in the late afternoon, evening, gusting to about 35 or so. Today, at most, the wind field's expected to be around 10 to 20. It's still a westerly wind, so if anything, Mother Nature trying to push the fire to the east, and that was reportedly the case yesterday. All right, here's a look at Cannon Beach live. The one spot, the north coast, that has some morning clouds. Yesterday, you folks cleared it before the noon hour, and I expect you to do the same today. 56. There's the rising sun. There she is in the eastern sky, of course, from the Wells Fargo Tower. 62 is the early number. We have more 50s than 60s on the board, and that is a nice, pleasant moment for us. 55 in Hillsboro. So finally, it's okay to open up those windows, right? 58 in Kelso, 62 in Salem. 57 is the current number out in Baker City. Outside of the north coast, everybody is clear. You'll find blue skies. I thought I would show you our smoke modeling, and this usually does a really good job. So there's a smoke plume from that fire that's burned over 7,000 acres outside of Dufur. And then you can see some decent smoke down around Burns as well. The blue colors are just kind of slight wildfire haze in the sky. So two areas really in Wasco County and then north of Burns, some elevated smoke. All right, our forecast numbers today: Salem 91. Yesterday you were 97. You'll notice the cool down. 86 in Battleground, 88 in Vancouver. One of the big stories in terms of our record keeping is that if we fail to hit 90 today, and I have us at 88, that will end the consecutive stretch of 90-plus degree days at 7. Remember, the longest we've ever done that is 10 days. Now, with that said, if we don't do 90 today, I like our chances tomorrow and Saturday, and then we're kind of upper 80s into the 90s as we get rolling into next week, and that is your forecast.
Rod, we've got breaking news in North Portland's Kenton neighborhood. North Columbia Boulevard is closed right now between North Peninsular and North Interstate Place. We're understanding from Portland Police that a pedestrian was struck and taken to the hospital with what were called life-threatening injuries. This happened just a couple of hours ago. This is a hit and run. There is no description of the suspect vehicle at this point. And again, the pedestrian is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. North Columbia Boulevard right now closed from North Peninsular to North Interstate Place. Your workaround, your traffic solution to get around this right now is either Lombard or Marine Drive. We'll keep you posted on this.